Master is proud to present Mr. George Carlin.
Just trying to make you feel at home. Sorry. All right, I've been out here a little while and I haven't complained about anything, just noticed that. And that means we ought to move into the complaint department. First on my list is just a series of things that are pissing me off, okay? Things that are pissing me off. Because I don't have pet peeves, I have major psychotic fucking hatreds, okay? And it makes the world a lot easier to sort out. First on my list tonight, airport security. Getting tired of this shit, too much of it. Too much security at the airports. Tired of some guy with a double-digit IQ and a triple-digit income rooting around inside of my bag for no reason and never finding anything. Haven't found anything yet. In anybody's bag. Haven't found one bomb in one bag. Don't tell me, well, the terrorists know their bags are going to be searched, so now they're leaving their bombs at home. There are no bombs, there never were any bombs. The whole thing is fucking pointless, and it's completely without logic. They'll take away a gun, but let you keep a knife. What the fuck is that? In fact, there's a whole list of lethal objects they will allow you to take on board. Theoretically, you could take a knife, an ice pick, a hatchet, a straight razor, a pair of scissors, a chainsaw, 6 spinning wheels, and a broken whiskey bottle. And the only thing they'd say to you is that bag has to fit all the way under the seat in front of you. And if you didn't take a weapon on board, relax. After you've been flying for about an hour, they're going to bring you a knife and fork. They actually give you a fucking knife. It's only a table knife, but you could kill a pilot with a table knife. Might take a couple of minutes, you know. Especially if he's on the hefty side. But you can get the job done. If you really want to kill the prick. Shit, there's a lot of things you could kill a guy with. You could probably beat a guy to death with the Sunday New York Times, couldn't you? Or suppose you just had really big hands. Couldn't you strangle a flight attendant? Shit, you could probably strangle 2 of them, one with each hand. You know, if you were lucky enough to catch him in that little kitchen area. But you could get the job done if you really cared enough. So why is it they allow a guy with big, strong hands to get on board an airplane? I'll tell you why. They know he's not a security risk because he's already answered the 3 big questions. Question number 1, did you pack your bags yourself? No, Carrot Top packed my bag. He and Martha Stewart and Florence Henderson came over to the house last night. Fetched me a lovely lobster Newburg. Yeah. Performed a 4-way around the world, and then they packed my bags. Next question. Have your bags been in your possession the whole time? No. Usually the night before I travel, just as the moon is rising, I place my suitcases out on the street corner and leave them there unattended for several hours. Just for good luck. Next question. Has any unknown person asked you to take anything on board? Well, what exactly is an unknown person? Surely everyone is known to someone. In fact, just this morning, Kareem and Yusuf Ali Ben Gaba seemed to know each other quite well. They kept joking about which one of my suitcases was the heaviest. And that's another thing they don't like at the airport. Jokes. You know? Yeah. You can't joke about a bomb. Well, why is it just jokes? What about a riddle? How about a limerick? How about a bomb anecdote? You know, no punchline, just a really cute story. Or suppose the remark was intended by you not as a joke, but as an ironic musing. Are they prepared to make that distinction? Why, I think not. And besides, who's to say what's funny? Airport security is a stupid idea, it's a waste of money, and it's only there for one reason, to make white people feel safe. That's all. The feeling, the illusion of safety to placate the middle class. Because the authorities know they can't make airplanes completely safe. Too many people have access. You'll notice the drug smugglers don't seem to have a lot of trouble getting their little packages on board, do they? No, and God bless them too. And by the way, an airplane flight shouldn't be completely safe. You need a little danger in your life. Take a fucking chance once in a while, will you? What are you going to do? Play with your prick for another 30 years? What, are you going to read People magazine and eat at Wendy's till the end of time? Take a fucking chance. Besides, even if they made all the airplanes completely safe, the terrorists would simply start bombing other places that are crowded. Porn shops, crack houses, titty bars, and gangbangs. You know, entertainment venues. The odds of you being killed by a terrorist are practically zero. So I say relax and enjoy the show. Have a little fun. You gotta be realistic about terrorism. Gotta be a realist. Certain groups of people, certain groups. Muslim fundamentalists, Christian fundamentalists, Jewish fundamentalists, and just plain guys from Montana. Are going to continue to make life in this country very interesting for a long, long time. That's the reality. Angry men in combat fatigues talking to God on a two-way radio and muttering incoherent slogans about freedom are eventually going to provide us with a great deal of entertainment. Especially after your stupid fucking economy collapses. All around you, and the terrorists come out of the woodwork. You'll have anthrax in the water supply, you'll have sarin gas in the air conditioners, you'll have chemical and biological suitcase bombs in every city, and I say enjoy it, relax, enjoy the show, take a fucking chance, put a little fun in your life. Do you know what? I think that terrorism is exciting. To me, terrorism is an exciting thing. Really, I think the very idea that you can set off a bomb in a marketplace and kill several hundred people is exciting and stimulating, and I see it as a form of entertainment. I also know that most Americans are soft and frightened and unimaginative, and they don't realize there's such a thing as dangerous fun. And they certainly don't realize that there's a good show around when they see one. I've always been willing to put myself at great personal risk for the sake of entertainment. And I've always been willing to put you at great personal risk for the same reason. As far as I'm concerned, all of this security shit, all the searches, the cameras, the screenings, the questions, it's all just one more way of reducing your liberties and reminding you that they can fuck with you anytime they want, as long as you're willing to put up with it. As long as you put up with it. Which means, of course, anytime they want. Because that's the way Americans are. They're always willing to trade away a little of their freedom in exchange for a feeling, the illusion of security. What we have now is a completely neurotic population obsessed with security and safety and crime and drugs and cleanliness and hygiene and germs. There's another thing, germs. Where did this sudden fear of germs come from in this country? Have you noticed this shit? Media constantly doing stories about all the latest infections, E. coli, salmonella, hantavirus, bird flu, and Americans panic easily. Americans really panic, so now everybody's running around scrubbing this and spraying that, and overcooking their food and repeatedly washing their hands, trying to avoid all contact with germs. It's ridiculous, and it goes to ridiculous lengths. In prisons, before they give you a lethal injection, they swab your arm with alcohol. It's true. It's true. Well, they don't want you to get an infection. And you can see their point. Wouldn't want some guy to go to hell and be sick. We'll take a lot of the fun out of the whole operation. Fear of germs, why these fucking pussies? They can't even get a decent hamburger anymore. They cook the shit out of everything now because everybody's afraid of food poisoning. Hey, where's your sense of adventure? Take a fucking chance, will you? You know how many people die from food poisoning in this country every year? 9,000. That's all. It's a minor risk. Take a fucking chance, bunch of goddamn pussies. Besides, what do you think you have an immune system for? Huh? It's for killing germs.
That's right.
But it needs practice. It needs germs to practice on. Yeah. So if you kill all the germs around you and live a completely sterile life, then when germs do come along, you're not going to be prepared. And never mind ordinary germs, what are you going to do when some super virus comes along that turns your vital organs into liquid shit? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to get sick, you're going to die, and you're going to deserve it because you're fucking weak and you've got a fucking weak immune system. Now to tell you a true story about immunization. When I was a little boy in New York City in the 1940s, we swam in the Hudson River, and it was filled with raw sewage, okay? We swam in raw sewage, you know, to cool off. And at that time, the big fear was polio. Thousands of kids died from polio every year, but you know something? In my neighborhood, no one ever got polio. No one, ever. You know why? Because we swam in raw sewage. That strengthened our immune systems.
That's right.
The polio never had a prayer. We were tempered in raw shit. So personally, I never take any special precautions against germs. I don't shy away from people who sneeze and cough. I don't wipe off the telephone. I don't cover the toilet seat. And if I drop food on the floor, I pick it up and eat it. I eat it. Even if I'm at a sidewalk cafe in Calcutta. The poor section. On New Year's morning during a soccer riot. You know something, in spite of all that so-called risky behavior, I never get infections. I don't get them. I don't get colds, I don't get flu, I don't get food poisoning, I don't get headaches or upset stomachs. And you know why? Because I got a good, strong immune system and it gets a lot of practice. My immune system is equipped with the biological equivalent of fully automatic military assault rifles with night vision and laser scopes. And we have recently acquired phosphorus grenades and cluster bombs. So when my white blood cells are on patrol, reconnoitering my bloodstream, seeking out strangers and other undesirables, if they see any suspicious-looking germs of any kind, they don't fuck around. They whip out the weapons, wax the motherfucker, and deposit the unlucky fellow directly into my colon. Directly into my colon. There's no nonsense. There's no Miranda warning. There's none of that 3 strikes and you're out shit. First offense, bam, into the colon you go. And speaking of my colon, I want you to know I don't automatically wash my hands every time I go to the bathroom, okay? Can you deal with that? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You know when I wash my hands? When I shit on them. That's the only time. You know how often that happens? Tops, 2 or 3 times a week, tops. Maybe a little more frequently over the holidays, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you something else, my well-scrubbed friends. You don't always need a shower every day. Did you know that? It's overkill. Unless you work out or work outdoors, or for some reason come in intimate contact with huge amounts of filth and garbage every day, you don't always need a shower. All you really need to do is to wash the 4 key areas. Armpits, asshole, crotch, and teeth. Got that? Armpits, asshole, crotch, and teeth. In fact, you can save yourself a whole lot of time if you simply use the same brush on all 4 areas. Now, continuing with these things that are pissing me off, this is in the form of a question. Haven't we had about enough of this cigar-smoking shit in this country? When is this shit going to end? When is this going to disappear? When are these fat, arrogant, overpaid, overfed, overindulged, overprivileged, white-collar, criminal business cocksuckers going to put out their cigars and move along to the next abomination? White pussy businessmen sucking on a big brown dick. That's it. That's all it is. That's all it is. You know, Freud said sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Oh yeah? Well, sometimes it's a big brown dick. With a fat, arrogant, white-collar business asshole sucking on the wet end of it. But you know something? Hey, the news is not all bad for me. Not all bad. Want to hear the good part? Cancer of the mouth. Good. Fuck 'em. Makes me happy. It's an attractive disease. Goes nice with a cell phone. So light up, suspender man, and suck that smoke deep down into your empty suit and blow it out your ass, you fucking cocksucker! Here's another question. What is all this shit about angels? Have you heard this shit? Oh yeah, 3 out of 4 people now believe in angels. What, are you fucking stupid? Has everybody lost their mind in this country? Angels, shit. No, I think it is. I think it's a massive, collective, psychotic, chemical flashback. From all the drugs smoked, shot, snorted, swallowed, and absorbed rectally by all Americans from 1960 to 1990. 30 years of adulterated street drugs will get you some fucking angels, my friend. Angels, shit. What about goblins, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody believe in goblins? Never hear about them. Except on Halloween, it's always negative shit, too. You ever notice that? And zombies. Zombies. Where the fuck are all the zombies? That's the trouble with zombies. They're unreliable. I say if you're going to buy the angel shit, you might as well go for the zombie package as well. Here's another horrifying aspect of American culture, the continued pussification of the American male in the form of Harley-Davidson theme restaurants. What the fuck is going on here? Harley Davidson used to mean something. It stood for biker attitude. Grimy outlaws and their sweaty mamas, full of beer and crank, rolling around on Harleys, just looking for a good time. Destroying property, raping teenagers, and killing policemen. All very necessary activities, by the way. But now, theme restaurants. And this soft shit obviously didn't come from hardcore bikers. It came from these weekend motorcyclists. These fraudulent 2-day-a-week motherfuckers who have their bikes trucked into Sturgis, South Dakota for the big rally. Ride around like they just come in off the road. Dentists and bureaucrats and accountants and pussy boy software designers. Getting up on the Harley because they think it makes them cool. Well, hey, skeezix, you ain't cool, you're fucking chilly. As long as we're talking about this curse of theme restaurants, I have a proposition for you. I think that if white people are going to burn down black churches, then black people ought to burn down the House of Blues. What a fucking disgrace that place is.
That's right.
House of Blues. You ought to call it the House of Lame White Motherfuckers.
That's right.
Inauthentic, low-frequency, single-digit, lame white motherfuckers. Especially these movie stars who think they're blues artists. You ever see these guys? Don't you want you to puke in your soup when one of these fat, white, male, overage, middle-aged fucking movie stars jumps on stage with his harmonica blowing in his harmonica? It's a fucking sacrilege. In the first place, white people got no business singing the blues ever. At all, ever, under any circumstances. What the fuck do white people have to be blue about? Banana Republic ran out of khakis? The espresso machine is jammed? Hootie and the Blowfish are breaking up?
Yay!
Shit, white people ought to understand their job is to give people the blues, not to get them. You're certainly not to sing or play them. Give you a little hint about the blues. It's not enough to play the notes. You gotta know why they need to be played. And another thing, I don't think white people should be trying to dance like blacks. Stop that. Stick to your faggoty polkas and waltzes and that repulsive country line dancing shit that you do. And be yourself, be proud, be white, be lame, and get the fuck off the dance floor.
Woo!
We're talking about minorities. I want to mention something about language in America, little phrases that come and go in America, you know. This is the reason, these two I want to tell you are the current things that guilty white liberals say when they're talking about minorities. First one is, happens to be. He happens to be black. I have a friend who happens to be black. Like it's a fucking accident, you know. Happens to be, yes, happens to be black. I see. You had two black parents? Oh, yes. And they fucked? Oh, indeed they did. So where does the surprise part come in? I should think it would be more unusual if he just happened to be Scandinavian. And the other term they use a lot is openly. But they only use this for one. You're openly gay. They say someone is openly gay. But that's the only minority they use that for. You know, you wouldn't say someone was openly black. Well, maybe James Brown. Or Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan is openly black. Colin Powell is not openly black. Colin Powell is openly white. He just happens to be black. Urban becomes synonymous with the word black. Did I fall asleep for 8 or 9 years or something? Urban styles, urban trends, urban music. I was not consulted on this all. I didn't get an email, didn't get a fax, didn't get a postcard. Fine, fuck them, let them go. I don't care. I don't think white women should be calling each other girlfriend, okay?
Yeah.
And no matter what color you are, you go girl should probably go. Right along with you the man. Hey, you the man. Well, you the fucking hunky. Right now, something a little more positive. I want you to think everything in the show is negative. This is my idea for a festival in the summer. A summer outdoor festival. This is called Slugfest. This is for men only. Men only. Here's what you do. You take about 100,000 of these fucking men. You don't know what is that? You know, these macho motherfuckers. These strutting, preening, posturing, hairy, sweaty, alpha male jack-offs. The muscle assholes. You take about 100,000 of these disgusting pricks. You throw them into a big dirt arena, big 25-acre dirt arena, and you just let them beat the shit out of each other for 24 hours non-stop. No food, no water, just whiskey and PCP.
Yeah. Jesus. Woo.
And you just let them punch and pound and kick the shit out of each other until there's only one guy left standing. Then you take that guy and you put him on a big platform and you shoot him in the fucking head. And you put it on TV. Otherwise we'd go for that shit in half a minute, wouldn't we? The guys would love it. Guys would volunteer for it. All you gotta do is promise them a small appliance of some kind. Oh yeah, men will do anything. No principles at all. Well, you promise them something that plugs in the wall and makes a whirring sound. Here's another male cliche. These guys who cut the sleeves off of their t-shirts so the rest of us can have an even more compelling experience of smelling their armpits. I say, hey Bruno, shut it down, would you please? You smell like an anchovy's cunt, all right? Not good. Not good. Not for sharing, okay, Bruno? This is the same kind of guy who has that barbed wire tattoo that goes all the way around the bicep. You know that shit, don't you? Yeah. This is just what I need. Some guy who hasn't been laid since the bicentennial wants me to think he's a bad motherfucker because he's got a picture. A painting, you know, on his arm of some barbed wire. I say, hey, motherfucker, come around when you have the real thing on there. I'll squeeze that shit on good and tight for you, okay? No kidding. This is one of those guys, if you smash him in the face 8 or 9 times with a big chunk of concrete and then beat him over the head for an hour and a half with a steel rod, he'd drop like a fucking rock. Here's another guy thing that sucks. These t-shirts that say, lead, follow, or get out of the way. Eh? You seen that? This is more of that stupid Marine Corps bullshit. Obsolete male impulses from 100,000 years ago. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. You know what I do when I see that shirt? I obstruct. I stand right in the guy's path, force him to walk around me, gets a little past me, I spin him around, kick him in the nuts, rip off the shirt, wipe my ass with it, and shove it down his fucking throat. That's all these Marines are looking for, a good time. They just want to party. And speaking of so-called tough guys, I'm getting pretty tired of hearing that after 6 policemen get arrested for shoving a floor lamp up some black guy's ass and ripping his intestines out, the police department announces they're going to have sensitivity training. I say, hey, if you need special training to be told not to jam a large cumbersome object up someone else's asshole, maybe you're too fucked up to be on the police force in the first place. Maybe. What they really ought to have is 2 new requirements for being on the police: intelligence and decency. It never comes up. It might work. They certainly haven't tried it yet. No one should ever have anything placed inside their asshole that is weaker than a fist and less loving than a dildo. Now, this next thing is about our president.
Who?
Our president. Yes, your president too. Yeah. Clinton. I don't call him Clinton, I call him Clinton. C-L-I-T-T-I-N Clinton. You know, anyway, here's the deal. I don't do topical humor. I don't care for it, so I don't do it, all right? But after 11 months of this Lewinsky shit, you know, you gotta say something sooner or later. So this is my idea. Clinton, his big hero was JFK. Loved JFK. Tried to emulate him every way he could. Well, JFK's administration was called Camelot. Although it really should have been called Come-A-Lot. Because that's what he did. He came alive. Well, Clinton is looking for an historical legacy. Let him take that. Clinton, well, maybe come a little would be better for Clinton. Because that's all he did. You know, little on the dress, little on the desk, little on the floor. He was no match for Kennedy in the pussy department, was he? You know, Kennedy aimed high, Marilyn Monroe. Clinton showed his dick to a government clerk. There's a drop-off here. There's a drop-off. Now, I didn't tell you people, I forgot to do this right at the beginning. There's two pieces I'm going to be reading to you tonight because I'm getting ready for my HBO show, and I only wrote these a week ago, and I don't have them memorized yet, period, that's it. And don't worry about it because I can't miss any of the jokes, they're on the fucking paper. Something else I'm getting tired of is all this bullshit we have to put up with about children in this country. Can I tell you something? There's too much attention being paid to children. It's not fucking healthy. What you have now is an exaggerated neurotic fixation on children that's gotten completely out of hand. It's cultural hysteria. And I know some of you are thinking, Jesus, he's not going to attack children, is he? Yes, he is. He's going to attack children. And remember, this is Mr. Conductor talking. So, I know what I'm talking about. I'm an expert on children. And I also know you yuppie and boomer single dads and soccer moms who think you're such fucking heroes aren't going to like this, but someone's got to tell you for your own good, you're way overboard on children. They're overrated and overvalued, and you're turning them into little fetishes. It's superstitious nonsense. And I know you love your children. Everybody loves their children. Doesn't make you special. Saddam Hussein loves his children. Takes them to Wet and Wild twice a week, okay? That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about here is this constant, mindless yammering in the media that everything has to revolve around what's good for children. Feed the children, teach the children, save the children, shield the children, protect the children. What it amounts to is smother the children. And you know what I say? And I say it with love. Fuck the children. Fuck them. Fuck them. And leave them alone. Stop over-managing them. They're smarter than you, and they can take care of themselves. First of all, let's establish a few things about kids, all right? Not all children are cute and adorable, all right? Not all. In fact, if you look at them closely, some of them are rather unpleasant looking. Try to stay with me on this. The sooner you face it, the better off you're going to be. Second premise, not all children are smart and clever. Got it? Kids are like any other group of people. You get a few winners and a whole lot of losers. In any large group, you're always going to have some people who are smart and clever and a whole lot of people who simply aren't going anywhere. And it's the same with kids. You can't save them all. You can't even save most of them. You gotta let them go, and you gotta stop overprotecting them. They're way too soft. Today's kids, too soft. Here's an example. There's too much safety equipment these days. Don't you think so? Car seats and child restraints, safe toys, fireproof pajamas, and helmets. Batting helmets, skateboard helmets, bicycle helmets. Kids have to wear helmets now for everything but jerking off. Knee pads, elbow pads, wrist guards, airbags. Parents are taking all the fun out of being a kid just to save a few hundred lives. You know what I mean? Really, it's fucking pathetic. Let them take a chance, will you? Take a fucking chance. What's happening is the boomers, the baby boomers, the soft, fruity baby boomers are raising a generation of soft, fruity kids who aren't even allowed to have hazardous toys. Shit, thousands of years ago, the original toys were sticks and stones. Hazardous. And since then, all toys are simply more sophisticated sticks and stones. And somehow the human race is doing just fine. Well, not really. And by the way, where is Darwin on this one? Survival of the fittest. Here's how it ought to work with toys. The kid who swallows too many marbles doesn't grow up to have kids of his own. Simple. Nature knows best. We're saving entirely too many lives these days, of all ages. Nature should be allowed to do its job, weeding out the sick and weak people without us interfering with airbags and batting helmets. If you like, you can think of this as passive eugenics, okay? Here's another example of unnecessary overprotection. Did you ever notice on TV, on the news, every time some guy with an AK-47 comes into a schoolyard and kills 3 or 4 kids and a couple of teachers, the next day, the school is overrun with psychologists and psychiatrists and grief counselors and trauma therapists trying to help the children cope. Shit, when I was a kid, someone came to our school and killed 3 or 4 of us, we went right on with our schoolwork. We finished the arithmetic. 35 classmates minus 4 equals 31. We were fucking tough. I say if these kids can handle the violence in their homes, they ought to be able to handle the violence in school. I'm not worried about guns in school. You know what I'm waiting for? Guns in church. Ah, shit, that's going to be a lot of fun. You watch, it'll happen. Somewhere real soon, someone with an automatic weapon is going to go nuts in a fucking church. And the media will refer to him as a disgruntled worshiper. That's good. really is. But back to the kids. School uniforms, okay? This is really a bunch of shit and bad social theory. The idea is if kids wear uniforms in school, it helps keep order. As if schools don't already do enough to stifle a child's individuality. Now, besides looking alike and besides thinking alike, they're going to make them all look alike. And actually, it's not a new idea. I saw it in old newsreels from the 1930s, but it was hard to understand because the narration was in German. And by the way, the uniforms looked great, and the kids marched beautifully and did exactly what they were told without ever questioning anything. Here's another item. I want to talk about this misguided hysteria about teenage smoking. What these anti-smoking, pro-children people don't understand is that kids don't smoke because a cartoon character tells them to. They smoke for the same reason adults do, because it relieves anxiety and tension and sharpens focus. It helps, and they know it. And don't forget, today's kids, besides having the usual anxieties of adolescence, also have to contend with these pathetic, striving parents who are constantly pushing them in 1,000 directions. From Little League to Cub Scouts to swimming to soccer to piano to horseback to dancing to leathercraft, trying to get them to qualify for a good school while the kid still hasn't figured out which side of the crib smells the worst. But when their children smoke, it helps, and they know it. Kids just want to feel good, just like adults with their Starbucks and Prozac and Harvey Wallbangers. You know how much kids want to feel good? Some of them asphyxiate themselves while masturbating because it feels good. Okay? That takes commitment, folks. So don't be blaming everything on Joe Camel. One more item. For this one, we have to go back to Clinton and Lewinsky. On television, one of the things you keep hearing is, how can I explain this to my children? How will I tell my kids? What they really mean is, how can I shield my children from reality so that when they grow up, they'll be completely unprepared for the real world? Here's how you explain it to your children. Say, remember when Daddy and I told you about sex? Remember? We told you that grown-ups use sex to make babies? Well, what we were too frightened to tell you is that sometimes sex is used just for fun. Just for fun. You remember fun, don't you? Like before Daddy and I forced you to take Little League and Cub Scouts and swimming and soccer and piano and horseback. There's too much structure. Too much structure in their lives, man. All their time is scheduled. When I was a kid, I loved my unstructured time. I loved being alone, and I turned out fine. Well, not really. Every day, kids should have long periods of time just to daydream. Fuck the computer, fuck the TV, fuck the video games. Daydream a little, it's good for you. The best thing you can do for your kids, leave them the fuck alone. There you go. I appreciate that. Thank you, folks. You're doing fine. Everybody's in good shape here. Oh, I want to tell you what's on television tonight. Always like people to know what it is they're missing by not staying home. First of all, on the Playboy channel tonight. On the Playboy channel, I have one of those new reality shows where the people at home send in their own tapes. It's called Home Videos of Bad Fucking. And speaking of that delightful activity, I guess, you know, last week Ricky Lake had a special program, Women Who Fake Orgasms. So tonight, not to be outdone, Jerry Springer has a nighttime special, Men Who Fake Bowel Movements. Yeah, I think they're running out of ideas on those shows. Sally Jesse's next show is Rapists Who Force Their Victims to Play Yahtzee Beforehand. Getting a little strange in the late afternoon. And then, hey, later on tonight on the Nostalgia channel, they're going to play back-to-back two of my favorite episodes of Little House on the Prairie. First of all, the 1975 Christmas show, remember that? A Douchebag for Clara. God, that was good, wasn't it? And it was sad toward the end when she cried because she stuck it in the wrong hole. But as they say in the U.S. Navy, there is no wrong hole. Then, right after that, they're going to play my favorite Little House on the Prairie of all times, Missy Takes a Big Dump in the Woods. And that was interesting, I thought, because she had on the high heels and the long dress. And it was fun to watch how she had to maneuver through the poison sumac. And they didn't have toilet paper in those days. She had to use a series of pine cones. And she was pulling them in the wrong direction. Yes, I understand toward the end of the program they had to bleep out a lot of screaming and foul language. And then, hey, later on tonight, on pay-per-view, Willie Nelson's concert is on, and TV Guide listed all the songs he's going to sing. Going to start out with one of my favorites, Too Drunk to Jerk Off. Isn't that a great song? Then he's going to do a series of love songs, Kiss Me, I'm Coming. God, that's a good one. Kiss me, I'm coming, hold me, I'm humming. I can't help it. I am a romantic, and I do enjoy the sentimental tunes. Here's a sad song. I should have fucked old what's-her-name. Remember that? I should have never played the game. I should have fucked old what's-her-name. Here's one my mother used to sing around the house. Your love ran down my leg, and now you're gone. That one always got to me. I'm glad you feel the same way. Here's a fine love song. You blew my mind, now blow me. He's even going to do a Stevie Wonder song. I just called to say I tested positive. Well, you don't want to leave anybody out. You know what I mean? And hey, what would a Willie Nelson show be without a couple of cowboy songs? He's going to do that one George Jones and Waylon Jennings wrote, drinking beer, taking a shit, and passing out. And he's going to do a kind of a traditional Western song, one that Gene Autry used to sing when I was a little boy. It's midnight in Montana, and I can't get my dick out of this cow. Yeah. I always like that song. You know why I like it so much? Because it's a real cowboy song. And by the way, speaking of cattle fucking, do you know why it is when a farmer fucks a sheep, he does so at the edge of a cliff? So the sheep will push back. That's important to know these things. And sex advice. The person doing the receiving should also do some of the moving. With a rule of thumb, pardon the expression. Now, this next thing is about names, okay? Just names. Names are an interest of mine. Not a hobby. Hobbies cost money. Interests are free. And that's what this is. I like names. I fool around with names. Do you ever notice how they name singles bars? All these singles bars have the same kind of names. Cutesy little one-word names that end in ass. Scamps, tramps, chats, rumors, cahoots, cheers, chances, mingles, risks, gambits, notions. Hey, if I had a singles bar, you know what I'd call it? Nipples and dicks. A little truth in advertising. The Sperm Club. Snatch-O-Rama. The Crotcheteria. Frankie's Fuckery. Cafe Vagina. Open all night. Well, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I believe that the name on the outside of a place sort of lets you know what's going on the inside. Here would be a good name for a gay restaurant. The Mouthful. Come on, that's clever shit. That's a double pun, goddammit. You didn't think of it. Besides, you don't have to eat there if you don't want to. No, just go in, have a cocktail. Eyeball. Here's another name I don't care for. TGI Fridays. You know these cutesy-ass places? TGI Fridays. That whole TGIF thing was cute for about an hour. And that was 65 years ago when someone first said it on the radio. Not cute anymore. Time to start bombing these locations. TGI Fridays. If I had a place like that, you know what I'd call it? HSIOW. Holy shit, it's only Wednesday. I think people would drink a lot more liquor if they thought it was Wednesday all the time. Well, I'm just looking for a little honesty in these names. I'm just not asking a lot. I'm thinking of opening up a motel and calling it the Sleep and Fuck. Wouldn't that be a good honest name for a motel? Who needs this Shady Pines bullshit? The Sleep and Fuck Motel. Get me one of them big neon signs. Sleep, fuck. Sleep, fuck. Sleep and fuck. Sleep and fuck. Sleep and fuck. Sleep fast. Actually, fucking sleep would be a little more accurate. Best name for a motel would be the fucking smoke and sleep and roll over and get out of bed and wash your crotch and go out and buy 2 cans of Mr. Pibb and come back and fuck a whole lot more. Because that's all they ever have left in those soda machines on Sunday night. Mr. Pibb and Diet Shasta Orange. And that yellow can of Canada Dry tonic water that nobody wants! And speaking of naming things, am I the only person in this country who's laughing when these commercials come on television for Snapper lawnmowers? Isn't there anyone else in this failing republic who knows what a snapper is? A snapper is a pussy, okay? That's what it means. Snapper means pussy. It's derived from an older, more specific term, snappin' pussy, which describes a particular type of pussy, one with good, quick muscular control, kind of elasticity that also rolls that can grab a hold of you and give you a decent hump. You know what I'm talking about? Snappin' pussy. But now, snapper means any kind of pussy, and they've named a lawnmower company after it. Now, I have seen a few snappers in my day. Never seen one that'll cut grass. Maybe do a little edging. A little edging along the driveway after a party, that's all they can hope for. But you know, weed whacker, you can understand. You know that other product? I can't believe it's not butter. Well, they got a new one coming out. It's called I Sure Hope the Fuck This Ain't Lard. There's also a new instant soup on the market. It's called Make It Yourself, you lazy prick. Names interest me. I'm thinking of moving to Nevada where prostitution is legal and opening a bed and breakfast called the Cock and Muffin. Would you go there? You'd come there, I'll guarantee you that shit. You know, there are some large organizations, really large organizations, whose names I think are completely mixed up. The Department of Water and Power. Well, water and power don't go together. You get fucking electrocuted. The Food and Drug Administration. Well, with most drugs, you don't want any food. Except marijuana. They shouldn't be bothering people with marijuana in the first place. Then you have that really interesting organization, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Do we even have to talk about this one? Bad combination. Here's what they ought to do. You call the police, the Department of Power and Firearms. Then you have the Food and Water Administration. That's what you need to survive. Food and water, you put them together. That leaves you with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Drugs. Keep all the good shit in one place. Now let's talk about people's names. People's names are interesting because a lot of times they carry with them a little extra emotional baggage that comes with the name. Think of the names of the founders of the great religions. Those founders' names still today ring with an air of mystery. Christ, Moses, Buddha, Muhammad. But the Mormons, Joseph Smith, not very impressive. Come on, we're going to Utah. Who said so? Joe Smith. Well, I gotta go take a shit. Drop me a postcard, let me know how you like it out there. Well, I was raised Catholic, and I'm still waiting for a new pope to choose the name Corky. Wouldn't that be fun? His Holiness Pope Corky the Ninth. Well, I think I'd have to skip right to 9 to get a little credibility, don't you? Somehow to me, Pope Corky the First doesn't command a great deal of authority. Names reveal a lot. You'll know this country's in deep trouble if we ever wind up with a president named Booger. Sometimes the names affect history. I honestly believe there never would have been a Second World War if Hitler's first name was Floyd. Can you imagine? I'm going to kill 20 million people. Remember the name Floyd Hitler. Why, they would have beat the shit out of him in Munich in 1931. The Ripper, if his name was Wally. Who's that? Who's on the loose? Who's on? Oh, Wally the Ripper. Oh, Wally the Ripper. What a fucking goof. Same thing with Billy the Kid. Suppose his name was Billy the Schmuck. People would have been a lot less tense. Who's that riding into town? Well, that's Billy the Schmuck. Well, fuck him. I never would have gone hunting with Buffalo Shecky. Doesn't sound safe. Suppose there had been a really great composer who lived in the 18th century. I mean a really good one. Better than all the rest. Better than Bach, better than Beethoven, better than Mozart, but his name was Johann the Cuntlapper. Do you think they would play his music on the radio today? And now the New York Philharmonic performs the Easter Mass in C-sharp minor by Johann the Cuntlapper. Considered Johann's finest work, it had a profound influence on another obscure composer of that era, Heinrich the Mulefucker. Well, some people have dirty names. They can't help it, they have a dirty name. Some of you might know this. There's actually a NASCAR race driver whose name is Dick Trickle. That's really his name, Dick Trickle. Well, how do you go through life like that? Hi, I'm Dick Trickle. Fine, stand over there, would you please? Yeah, off the carpet, please. Here's a milk bottle for you, Mr. Trickle. Will that help you out? Well, they look like good shoes to me. Of course, having your Dick Trickle is not nearly as impressive as having a Magic Johnson. Whoa! Look at that thing. God damn, you frightened the dog. I wish you had put that away a little at a time, Mr. Johnson. You wouldn't want to get a knot in it. And Peter O'Toole. That's a double header, isn't it? Hey, if you're the Doublemint twins, don't bend over near Peter O'Toole. Now, on the other hand, some people have funny names. And they can't help it, they have a funny name. Do you realize Howdy Doodie's mother and father are known as the Doodies? It's true, Rudy and Judy Doody. And Bo Diddley's mother and father are the Diddleys. Dottie and Dudley Diddley. Well, I always like to be at a party and have to introduce the Doodies to the Diddleys. Rudy Doody like to meet Dudley Diddley, Dudley Doody, Judy Doody, Judy Doody, Dottie Diddley, Dottie Diddley, Rudy Doody, the Doodies, the Doodies, the Doodies, the Doodies. I don't know about you, but I'd be drinking triple whiskeys and saying, please God, don't let fucking Rudy Kazootie show up. Didn't they have any funny names in the Old West? Was everybody out there really named Murdoch and Kincaid? Didn't they have any funny names? Hey, Dan, guess who's over at the saloon getting all liquored up? Two-Gun Flechtenberger. Says he's going to get even with Farley Flockenhocker for killing his buddy Clayton Heffelflecker. Huh? Well, I heard it from old Doc Peckerchecker. You better tell Sheriff Dick Licker to get his ass on there. Well, there's going to be hell to pay when Marshal Dingleberry gets back into town. Hey, there goes that dance hall girl, Fanny Clitpicker. Let's go get laid. Let's go get laid. One more of these name things. This is also from the Old West. Did you ever hear this, I guess it's a legend, that there were certain Indians in the Old West who were named for the first thing they saw when they were born? Makes you wonder why there aren't more Indians named Wet Hairy Pussy, doesn't it? There you go. Thank you. Anyway, this HBO show that I'm getting ready for is going to be February 6th. That's a Saturday night at 9:30 on the big satellite. So I guess if it's on the satellite, it's live, and they'll make it earlier out here. It won't be adjusted for time. Or maybe they do. I don't know what the fuck they do. Anyway, sooner or later it'll be here. You know what I mean? And it's called You Are All Diseased. It's a lovely show. Dedicated to the Americans. Thank you very much, sir. I certainly appreciate anything people yell at me. I don't give a fuck what it is. I always consider everything positive. Hey, fuck you! I say, fine, thank you very much. Well, whatever that was, thank you. May I have your room key, please? Sorry about that. I'm just kidding. All right. Now, this next thing is about advertising. And by the way, if any of you have any cognitive dissonance about me doing 10-10-220 commercials and at the same time attacking advertising, you'll just have to figure that shit out for yourself. I might put something on the webpage about that in case you're one of those webpage people with a dot and a comma and a fucking slash. Gotta have a dot, gotta have a comma, gotta have a slash, don't you? Okay. This is called Advertising Lullaby. Keeping in mind, of course, that the whole purpose of advertising is to lull you to sleep. Quality, value, style, service, selection, convenience, economy, savings, performance, experience, hospitality, low rates, friendly service, name brands, easy terms, affordable prices, money-back guarantee, free installation, free admission, free appraisal, free alterations, free delivery, free estimates, free home trial, and free parking. No cash, no problem, no kidding, no fuss, no muss, no risk, no obligation, no red tape, no down payment, no entry fee, no hidden charges, no purchase necessary, no one will call on you, no payments or interest till July. Limited time only though, so act now, order today, send no money, offer good while supplies last, 2 to a customer, each item sold separately, batteries not included, mileage may vary, all sales are final, allow 6 weeks for delivery, some items not available, some assembly required, some restrictions may apply. That's right, folks. Come on in for a free demonstration and a free consultation with our friendly professional staff. Our experienced and knowledgeable sales representatives will help you make a selection that's just right for you and just right for your budget. And say, don't forget to pick up your free gift, a classic, deluxe, custom, designer, luxury, prestige, high-quality, premium, select, gourmet, pocket pencil sharpener. Yours for the asking, no purchase necessary. It's our way of saying thank you. And if you act now, we'll include an extra added free complimentary bonus gift, a classic, deluxe, custom, designer, luxury, prestige, high-quality, premium, select, gourmet, combination, keyring, magnifying glass, and garden hose, and a genuine imitation leather-style carrying case with authentic vinyl trim. Yours for the asking, no purchase necessary. It's our way of saying thank you. Actually, it's our way of saying bend over just a little bit further so we can stick this big dick up your ass a little bit deeper. A little bit deeper. A little bit deeper. You miserable, no good, dumbass fucking consumer. And you do know, folks. Yes, you do know that every time you're exposed to advertising in this country, you realize once again that America's leading industry, America's most profitable business, is still the manufacture, packaging, distribution, and marketing of bullshit. High quality, prime cut, grade A, pure American bullshit. And the sad part is, a lot of people seem to be indoctrinated to the belief that bullshit only comes from certain places, certain sources. Advertising, politics, salesmen, not true. Bullshit is everywhere. Bullshit is rampant. Parents are full of shit, teachers are full of shit, clergymen are full of shit, and law enforcement people are full of shit. This entire country is completely full of shit, and always has been, from the Declaration of Independence to the Constitution to the Star-Spangled Banner. It's really nothing more than one big steaming pile of red, white, and blue all-American bullshit. Because think of how we started. Think of how we started. This country was founded by a group of slave owners who told us all men are created equal. Oh yeah, all men except for Indians and niggers and women, right? Always like to use that authentic American language. A small group of unelected white male land-holding slave owners who also suggested that their class be the only ones allowed to vote. Now that is what's known as being stunningly and embarrassingly full of shit. And I think people really show their ignorance when they say they want their politicians to be honest. What are these fucking cretins talking about? If honesty were suddenly introduced into American life, the whole system would collapse. No one would know what to do. Honesty would fuck this country up. And I think deep down Americans know that. That's why they elected and re-elected Bill Clinton. Because the American people like their bullshit right out front where they can get a good, strong whiff of it. Clinton might be full of shit, but at least he lets you know it. Dole tried to hide it, didn't he? Dole kept saying, I'm a plain and honest man. Bullshit. People don't believe that. What did Clinton say? He said, hi, folks, I'm completely full of shit, and how do you like that? And the people said, you know something? At least he's honest. At least he's honest about being completely full of shit. It's just like the business world. Same as business. Everybody knows by now, all businessmen are completely full of shit. Just the worst kind of low-life criminal cocksuckers you could ever want to run into. Fucking piece of shit businessman. And the proof of it is, they don't even trust each other. They don't trust one another. When a businessman sits down and negotiates a deal, the first thing he does is to automatically assume that the other guy is a complete lying prick who's trying to fuck him out of his money. So he's got to do everything he can to fuck the other guy a little bit faster and a little bit harder. And he's got to do it with a big smile on his face. You know that big bullshit businessman smile? And if you're a customer, whoa, that's when you get the really big smile. Customer always gets that really big smile as the businessman carefully positions himself directly behind the customer and unzips his pants and proceeds to service the account. I'm servicing this account. This customer needs service. Now you know what they mean when they say, we specialize in customer service. Whoever coined the phrase, let the buyer beware, was probably bleeding from the asshole. But that's business. That's business. And in the bullshit department, a businessman can't hold a candle to a clergyman. Because I gotta tell you the truth, folks. When it comes to bullshit, big time bullshit, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe of the all-time champion of false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. No contest. Religion easily has the greatest bullshit story ever told. Just think about it for a minute. Religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you. He loves you and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all powerful, all perfect, all knowing, and all wise. Somehow, just can't handle money. Religion takes in billions of dollars. They pay no taxes, and they always need a little more. Now, you talk about a good bullshit story. Holy shit. But I want you to know, folks, I want you to know, when it comes to believing in God, I tried. I swear to you, I really, really tried. I tried to believe that there is a God who created us in his own image and likeness, supervised our development, loves us very much, and keeps a close eye on everything. I really tried to believe all that, but I gotta tell you, the longer you live and the more you look around, the more you realize something is fucked up. Poverty, war, death, disease, starvation, torture, cruelty, corruption, and the ice capades. Something is wrong. If this is the best shit God can come up with, I am not impressed. This is the kind of stuff you'd expect from an office temp. Results like these do not belong on the resume of a supreme being. And just between you and me and any decent corporation, he would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago. And by the way, I say he because I'm convinced this is man's work. No woman could or would ever fuck things up like this. So if there is a God, if there is, I think a reasonable person could assume that he's at least incompetent and maybe, just maybe, doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit, which I admire. So rather than just be another one of the drones, believing blindly that everything is in the hands of some spooky, incompetent father figure who doesn't give a shit, I decided I had to look around for something else to worship, something I could really count on. And immediately, I thought of the sun. Happened like that. The sun. Overnight, I became a sun worshiper. Well, not overnight. You can't see the sun at night. But first thing the next morning, I became a sun worshiper. And let me tell you why. First of all, I can see the sun. Okay? Unlike some other gods I could mention, I can see the sun. I'm big on that. If I can see something, I don't know, kind of helps the credibility. So every day I can see the sun, and it gives me all the things I need. Heat, light, food, flowers in the park, reflections on the lake, and occasional skin cancer, but at least there are no crucifixions, and we're not setting people on fire. Sun worship is very simple. There's no mystery, no miracles, no pageantry, no songs to learn, no one asks for money, and we don't have a special building where everyone goes once a week to compare clothing. And the best thing about the sun, it never tells me I'm unworthy. Never says I'm a bad person who needs to be saved. Hasn't said an unkind word to me, treats me fine. So I worship the sun, but I don't pray to it. Don't pray to it. I wouldn't presume on our friendship. It's not polite. I've always thought people treated God rather rudely. Trillions and trillions of prayers, begging and pleading and asking for favors. Do this, give me that. And most of this praying takes place on Sunday, his day off. It's not nice, and it's no way to treat a friend. But people do pray, and they pray for lots of different things. Your sister-in-law needs a groin operation. Your son was arrested for defecating in a mall. And most of all, you really want to fuck that little redhead at the convenience store. You know, the one with the club foot. Can you pray for that? I think you can pray for that. And I say, fine, pray for anything you want. Pray for anything you want. But what about the divine plan? Remember that? The divine plan. Long time ago, God made a plan. He gave it a lot of thought, decided it was a good plan, put it into practice, and for thousands of years, it's been working just fine. Now you come along and you pray for something. Well, suppose the thing you want isn't in his divine plan. What do you want God to do? Change his plan? Just for you? Isn't that kind of arrogant? I mean, it's a divine plan. What's the use of being God if every down-and-out schmuck with a $2 prayer book can come along and fuck with your plan? I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree. And what about you? Suppose your prayers aren't answered. Huh? What do you do if they're not answered? You just say, well, it's God's will. Thy will be done. Well, if it's God's will and he's going to do what he wants to anyway, why the fuck bother praying in the first place? I mean, it seems like a waste of time. I mean, can't you just skip the praying part and go right to the thing about his will? It's all very confusing to me. So I got around all of this by worshiping the sun. But like I said, I don't pray to the sun. You know who I pray to? Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. You want to know why? First of all, he's a good actor, okay? I think that ought to count. Secondly, he looks like a guy who can get things done. In fact, Joe Pesci came through with a couple of things that God seemed to be having trouble with. For 10 years, I asked God to do something about my pesky neighbor. Joe Pesci straightened that guy out in one visit. So I've been praying to Joe, been praying to Joe for about a year now. And I've made a discovery. I have found that all the prayers I used to offer to God and all the prayers I now offer to Joe Pesci are being answered at about the same 50% rate. You know, half the time I get what I want, half the time I don't. 50-50. Same as God, same as the rabbit's foot, the four-leaf clover, the wishbone, and the tea leaves. The same as the mojo man and the voodoo lady who reads the goat's testicles. Okay? 50-50. Pick your superstition. And for those of you who enjoy the Bible, I have a few other stories I can recommend. The Three Little Pigs comes to mind. You might also enjoy Little Miss Muffet. And personally, I've always taken a great deal of moral comfort from Humpty Dumpty. And from my point of view, there's about as much evidence for the existence of God as there is for Little Red Riding Hood. In fact, let me put it this way. If there is a God, may he strike this audience dead. See, everybody's okay. All right, I'll raise the stakes. I'll go you one better. If there is a God, may he strike me dead.
Thank you.
See? Got a little cramp in my leg. And I'm blind. I'm blind. Joe, I need help. Joe, oh, great. Fucking Joe is great, isn't he? God bless Joe. Thank you all. Good night. I'll see you again.